Hey, this is Scott Rose, the Campfire Colonel. Today's episode, we're going to be going over some water procurement methods. We're going to go from progressively hard to easy. We'll start with the solar still, and then vegetation bag, and then the transpiration bag, and show you the differences and the benefits of each. All right, the first one we're going to do is the solar still. What I got to do is make sure this thing's going to be in the sun all day. And so the sun looks like it's going to be transitioning across the sky this way from east to west. And so I'm going to build my hole here. I'm going to dig a hole and lay some plastic over it. So I'll start digging the hole now. And this one, as you can see, is a lot of work. So I'm gonna use up a lot of sweat to get water from this thing. It's going to be a lot of work, especially in this sun and heat. Typically, you need to dig the hole about 1 foot down as a minimum to get it big enough to do what you want it to do. It's about what, 10 o'clock in the morning, North Carolina, and it's already probably about 80 degrees. And you see I'm sweating this real hard dirt, just digging this little hole. I'm sure if you're on a beach somewhere that the sand would be easier to dig, but something like this, wooded area where you have roots and rocks, it'd be a lot of work. All right, to improve the solar still, I'm going to put some vegetation, cut some, and lay it around in the bottom. That'll improve the moisture content inside. Okay, I'm going to get my collection device, and whatever you have to collect water, I'm going to use this old water bottle that we actually brought, but everywhere you go in the world, you'll find debris and refuse, trash from where man has been. This is going to be my collection device. I'm going to set it down in the center of my solar still, like that. Now I'm going to lay plastic over the top, and it'll be done. These I recommend for your survival kit, a clear plastic leaf bags that you put yard clippings and leaves when you rake them in the fall, but these are the best for any kind of water procurement. I'm going to lay this plastic down over the solar still, and then I'm going to put some dirt around the edge of it so that it'll make a tight seal with the ground. But I'm going to take this rock and I'm going to put it pretty much right over the top of where my little water collection device is, so that the water that evaporates from the leaves and the ground will collect on the plastic and run down and drip into the container. We'll come back in a couple of hours and see how much water it collected. Okay, the second method we're going to do is the vegetation bag. Okay, again, I've got a clear plastic bag. I found that clear works the best for the photosynthesis. Black blocks the sun, so it doesn't photosynthesize. A black garbage bag, a white Walmart bag, or any type of other color does not work as well as clear. Okay, so this method is you're just going to collect vegetation and put it in the bag. I want to cut fresh vegetation as much as I can. Try not to pick poison ivy. That'd be bad. But any kind of vegetation will work. Grass, leaves, weeds is all good. Get these berries off. I've collected quite a bit of vegetation, cut it and placed it in the bag. I'm going to let a little bit of air in there because this is going to create a miniature steel in itself. I'm going to use a piece of paracord, piece of string, bootlace, whatever you have, to tie it off tight. You want this thing airtight. I've got a little hole right here. Some of the stems have poked, and I'll try to tie that off. As you can tell, I've gotten all hot and sweaty again, just going around cutting, collecting the leaves to put into this thing. Not as much work as the solar steel, but still some work. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this rock right here, and I want it to kind of set with one of the points hanging down, so that when the water collects, it'll be down here in the bottom of this point right here. The last and probably the best, my favorite method, is the transpiration bag. Now this one is different from this. Very similar, but I'm just not going to cut the vegetation. I'm going to tie it onto a live tree limb. I'm going to try to combine both of these limbs here and get as much green, leafy vegetation in my bag as I can. Then I'm going to tie it off as tight as I can so it doesn't, no air will escape. Again, I'm going to turn my bag around so the point is down here. That's where the water will collect. Okay, as you can see though, that took just a few seconds to put that up versus, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to dig the hole, sweat about a quart of water. Same with the vegetation bag. I was sweating, cutting, and it took me a while to do that. This just took a few minutes, and it's ready to go. Okay, it's about 3 o'clock now, about 4 hours since we did our water procurement methods, and we're going to see how each one worked. Now, one thing to remember, it's been really dry out here lately, so probably won't get as much water as we would like, but we'll see how each one performed. So you can see the solar steel method, there's some water condensing on the plastic, and I'm just going to tap it and hopefully get what's left, what's on the plastic, to drain down into the cup. Remember, there's only the vegetation that was in the bottom. Okay, I'm going to try to carefully uncover this thing so that it don't get dirt in our cup. Okay, wow, not a lot of performance out of this thing. Of course, I remember it's only been 3 hours. There's a little bit that's dripped on the sides there, but only a couple of drops in there. And if you remember how much I sweated building this thing, I sweat a whole lot more than that. The vegetation bag looks like it performed a little bit better. You can see the solar steel effect happening. Water is all condensed on this inside of this bag and is dripping down into the bottom. If I was going to reuse this, I would like to keep it closed. So I'm just going to cut the bottom tip off, and then I would tie it back together. But for now, I'm just going to cut it open and drain the water out. You can tell right away this is brown, and that's because of all the tannins that the water has sat in the leaves of this, giving it a taste. It's similar to tea. It's that's what gives tea its brown color, is the tannin. But it's still safe to drink. It's distilled water. Doing the transpiration bag, and see the condensation inside. It's working well as a solar still. This one, since it's a live tree, I can leave this bag on there. The survival books say for up to 3 days with no leaf damage. I don't necessarily agree with that. It will cause the leaves to wilt a little bit. But again, if I was in a survival situation, I would just cut the corner of this bag and then tie it off, keep the air super saturated so this thing will continue to work. Okay. I can tell right away this is a little clearer. There is some sediment and some stuff floating in it from the leaves and stuff, but again, safe to drink. The benefit of this is this tree will continue to produce water as long as it's alive, whereas the vegetation bag, you've already cut that vegetation, that's dead, and all you got is the water that's in there now. This was the easiest one, and the transpiration bag by far is the best method for procuring water, well over the vegetation bag and the solar still in terms of effort to produce, water taste and quality, and the amount of water that you're going to get. So here's a side-by-side comparison of the three waters. This was the solar still, the vegetation bag, and the transpiration bag. But let's see how they taste. This is the solar still. Again, just a couple of drops here. Warm. Just not a lot to taste. Let's try the vegetation bag. Now, there's a leaf floating in it. Get that out. A lot of sediment, a lot of floaties in the bottom. See how this tastes. Definitely warm, definitely tastes like green beans, like garden peas, or like a green flavor to it, like a salad almost, because the plants were floating in the water. But I mean, tastes pretty good, not bad. Let's try the transpiration bag. A lot clearer. Let's try this one. Again, that tastes, it's warm, but it tastes like distilled water, just a slight hint of vegetation. But I mean, this would be, could at least quench your thirst. Pretty good. All right, that does it for this episode of water procurement methods. By far the best is the transpiration bag. Again, I think I'll choose for my final drink here, from the transpiration bag. Cheers.